Hey, what's good, y'all? It's Lucky here. Welcome back to my room and my YouTube channel. I recently went out on a couple adventures. I got to check out some media, so let's talk. Before I even start, it's raining outside, so you might get some outside noise. Also, I just woke up from a nap. I trimmed up my goatee a little bit. I look maybe a little tired, but I also feel very, very, very refreshed right now. So my first adventure this week was going to the Museum of Ice Cream, which was awesome. It was a nice little date. Prior to the date, I was a little nervous. Not because of the girl that I was with, we have gone out once before, because these tickets were 40 bucks each. And if we did not get $80 worth, I was gonna be a little pissed, because I usually spend money like that for concerts or are gonna be multi-dimensional. I don't know how much multi-dimensional you're gonna get with ice cream, and I was proven wrong, as you can tell by that little collage I just played. They had different flavors of ice cream on each floor. It was 3 floors. They had a slide at the end of the exhibit. They had games. They had little like mazes and stuff you could try out. They had arts and crafts. It wasn't too much history, but it was more like immersive things, a lot of colors, a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of treats. If you're looking for like just a cool getaway and you're in New York or Chicago, highly recommend the Museum of Ice Cream. That was definitely a pleasant surprise. So next up I want to talk about a couple of pieces of media. One being Superman, the other being Justin Bieber's Swag album. I didn't think it was a great movie. I didn't think it was a bad movie. I just thought it was good. Maybe very good. Like, it's definitely a James Gunn movie. At this point, if you've seen like Guardians of the Galaxy and Scooby-Doo, you kind of know what he's about. He's got a cast, he's got a formula. I made a TikTok about this, talking about how it's similar to Wes Anderson. Like, you're gonna get a lot of style, cool colors, cool outfits. He kind of has like a lot of actors he already works with. James Gunn does the same thing, just the James Gunn way. And it made for a good time, and I think it actually suited Superman pretty well. This reminds me of the Batman and the Joker a little bit. Not the tone. The tone is way different. It starts a few years into Superman's hero career. He's still learning how to be a hero. And you see that he has the intention, but not necessarily the execution at times. Honestly, there was times in this movie where I felt like I was watching Invincible on Amazon, and he's just getting his ass beat, and you're wondering, like, is this guy ever gonna save the day? This has a lot of, like I said, James Gunn stuff in it, so you're gonna get a rock song playing in the background with a character just beating the crap out of a bunch of villains. You're gonna get some humor. You're gonna get stuff with animals. There's Crypto, the dog. At one point you see Superman save a squirrel, and I thought that was just such an embodiment of what Superman is, right? You know, there's a building full of people, and he doesn't want to destroy the building because there's people inside. So, you know, the villain's like falling over, and like he's like kind of like trying like to place the person down and knock them out, and like not kill them and lay their body down gently so that they don't destroy the rest of the city. And I'm like, that's such a Superman thing to do. A lot of the side characters are awesome. The actor who plays Green Lantern did a good job of being some comic relief. Mr. Fantastic was awesome. Probably like my second favorite character in this movie. I thought David Cornswet did a wonderful job of playing Superman. And same for the actor that's playing the villain in Lex Luthor. Like, he did a great job of just being a hater. I loved it. He was just, like, he was hating so hard, he would risk destroying all of humanity just to kill Superman. Like, that's how much of a hater this guy was. I'm obsessed with every fabric of your being that I will go extreme lengths to show this. Other winks and nods at other DCEU projects and shows. And it's really cool. It's really slick. Overall, I think this movie is like between a I would say like a high 6. I think my rating would be like 7.2 out of 10 for sure. I think there's humor in parts where things should be a little bit more serious, and it makes those serious parts like not as like heartfelt, or it doesn't land like it should. I also think this movie, it's about like between 2 hour and 10 minutes, between 2 hour and 15 minutes. And it feels a bit longer. I think there's it feels a little bit longer than it should for some reason. And I think those are just some of the flaws that show up in this movie. And it's a little bit overstuffed for sure. And it seems to be a theme in media these days. But yeah, I think this is worth a watch for sure. I would see it again. Like if I'm out with my family, like, hey, we're going to go see Superman, I would happily see it again. But I think this is at least worth going to the theater, checking it out, and having a good time on a hot summer day. So next up I want to talk about Swag, the album by Justin Bieber. And it kind of ties with my last point about Superman, where I just feel like a lot of media nowadays is just bloated. And there's just been like a lot of takes that I see coming in that I don't particularly love. Like, I understand that Dijon and McGee produced songs on this album. And I went on Complex's website to do some digging on this, right? Because for some reason not all the credits are showing up on Spotify yet. So Complex has, the track listing with all like the producer names and stuff, and has like a little article prior to that. So, I'm looking through the article, I'm looking through the track list and stuff, and I control F and I search McGee. His name comes up once. I searched his government name of Michael Gordon, only comes up one time as well. So I'm like, all right. I believe Dijon came up 9 times. But I think what's getting overlooked here is a producer named Carter Lang. He's done a bunch of stuff with SZA and Doja Cat, Post Malone, Omar Apollo, Lil Nas X, and I can hear that as well. And so to just say that this album is just a bunch of McGee and Dijon songs or leftovers or produced with Justin Bieber singing, I think it's not the pitch that I like. I do think those two played a huge role in this, but Carter Lang is definitely at the top. His name was mentioned in this article 39 times. That's the little blurb plus all the tracks on the album. So he clearly put in a lot of work on this, and I just feel like he's been a part of so many important albums, maybe over the past 3 to 5 years, that we got to start looking at this dude's name in the credits. Overall, I feel like Swag ties into the point I made about Superman, where I just feel like it's just a little bloated. Yeah, so out of 21 songs on this album, there was 6 that I liked, like that are saved to my like songs right now. I'm sure there's other ones that I found okay, but that's about like 28.5%. Not great. I think if you took those 6 songs, put the 3 intros in there, add 3 more songs, you would have a really good project here. But I think, similar to Superman, it's a little bloated. I think it's a good piece of work. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's terrible. There's a lot of people saying that this album is terrible. I think that's insane. There's a lot of people saying this is a great R&B album. I don't think that's true. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Yes, it is a little bit of R&B. It's a little bit of pop. You hear the Dijon and the McGee and the Carter Lang influences. So some of these songs do sound intimate. They sound like they're, kind of recorded in a room alone, which I love. I love that sound. Overall, I don't think Justin Bieber's saying anything. And this has always kind of been my problem with his, recent work. From Changes to Justice to this album now. It's like you're giving these big titles, right? So, Changes, for example. I'm expecting an album about changes. And it was more like just R&B, having sex, care for you. Justice had an MLK intro. I think he said something about God in there. And then, once again, everything else is just the typical Justin Bieber pop and R&B stuff. This album is called Swag, so maybe it's about being cool or hanging out with your girl and feeling cool or whatever. And there's one song about him being a dad, a couple lines about Haley, arguing, sex, and once again, I think he has a little song about just loving people. I just don't know what he's saying, what the message is here. Not every album needs a message. When you're a huge mega pop star, that helps if you have a theme to go along with the album. And I just don't feel it. I don't see it. It's only in flashes here and there. If Superman's a 7.2, I'd give this one a 6.5. Wow, it's really starting to pour out there. There's been a couple other albums that dropped today. The Clips album dropped as well, and the Jack Boys album dropped. I just haven't really had a chance to like listen to those in their entirety or really absorb them, so I'm not going to talk about them today. I will say what I have heard from the Clips album so far. I do like it. I think the beats are crazy. I think Malice has some really awesome verses in there. Obviously, same thing with Pusha T. He's always showing up. But I would like to talk about that more in depth later on, but I really want a chance to absorb it. The immediate difference that I hear in the Jack Boys and the Clips album is that these albums are contained. Whether they're good or they're bad is not relevant right now, right? It's like they create this little world and they're keeping you inside of there. And they do it in like 12, 13 songs, whatever it may be. And it's its own world. There's production going on, there's themes, and it kind of like, it's like, hey, come over here. You're going to get absorbed in it, and we're going to show you what this is all about. And you know what? Superman did a good job of that, actually. Like, it kind of brings you into this world where stuff's already happening, and then you're just kind of into it. Even though it does feel bloated with all the characters and stuff going on, like, at least it did bring you into the world. I think that's what Swag's missing. It doesn't bring me into this world. Like, it brings me on, like, it's like a drive-through, right? Like, you go there for a couple minutes and then, like, you're out there. It doesn't feel like an immersive experience, where, like, Clips did a good job of that from what I've heard so far. Same thing with the Jack Boys. And once again, whether I think it's good or not, whether it is good or not, is irrelevant to this point that I'm making. Two, I went to go see Jurassic Park earlier today, or Jurassic World. An okay movie. The CGI with the dinosaurs, and it was awesome. It was a pretty movie to look at. But there's like a bunch of disposable characters that just are there and die because it helps the plot move along. This movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes. There's like a subplot with a family that, like, I mean, a couple of the characters are cool, and like I eventually cared about them, but like for most of the movie I'm just like, these are just like extra people here to just keep something else moving on. Like, imagine if that movie was like an hour and 30 minutes and it was more contained, and it was just like the doctor, Scarlett Johansson's character, Mahershala Ali, and then maybe like one or two of the crew members and like the villain in the movie. And then you get like this small group that's on this mission. Things go awry, and like it can be crazier, right? And that's just like my problem with so much media. Like, it's just so bloated. Why is every movie 2 hours and 15 minutes with all these stupid subplots that, like, with characters that are underdeveloped and I don't really care about that much? Why are some of these albums 22 songs and they don't connect with each other? They don't blend into each other. There's no theme. Like, I don't understand some of these creative choices. And then there's movies like Sinner and 28 Years Later, where choices are made and people have opinions about them, and these characters really come to life because it's contained in its own world and its own universe, and things are being built out and fleshed out. An album that I've been stuck on forever is Claro's Charm. I think it's only 16 or 17 tracks. It might be a little bit longer or shorter. I really can't remember off the top of my head. But like, once again, it was recorded on tape, and it has this warmth to it, and there's so much lush instrumentation. You're in Claro's world, and she's singing to you, and there's these bridges with pianos and saxophones and trumpets and clarinets. Like, that is awesome. One of my favorite albums ever, Trap Soul. You know, it's like the intro, and then I'm coming back for good. It's the song is skipping me right now, the name of it. It's one of my favorites. Phil starts going in, whatever, and then he's going in for 16, 17 tracks, and it's a really cohesive project that I love to go back and listen to, that makes sense, and everything in there works. And I don't know why we just want to add and make these things big and bulk when they're not fully fleshed out ideas, and it takes away from something that can be really, really good and makes it okay, makes it good, makes it mediocre, makes it alright. Sometimes I just want to be a little dumb and just turn my brain off and just enjoy something, and I do that often. But when you're talking about something that's big and epic and has a chance to really like move the needle creatively, why not take that chance? You know, why not knock a couple tracks off the album and see if you can get a more cohesive idea going on? We're in the age where like every dollar counts, Every stream matters because the world is just going to crap. So we got to make sure that we get butts and seats and make this a 2 hour and 10 epic movie. We got to make sure that we retain our listeners. So we're going to give you 24 tracks of Justin Bieber. And it's just like, oh, like y'all are so close. But some of my favorite albums are just shorter and more enjoyable. Some of my favorite movies are too, with the exception of a few. So that's my rant for today. I'm going to end it here. If you have thoughts on Jurassic Park, Superman, the Ice Cream Museum, leave a comment. Check out my other content. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.